What can you tell us about the band Espinaca?
Espinaca, wow, this is going way back. Good. Well, Espinaca was an instrumental jazz progressive rock group that I had with some friends in high school. And it was great, actually, because we were all in a jazz band together, and our band director was really great, and he kind of recognized that the four of us kind of had this thing going on. And so during class, he would just let us go off into our own practice room and kind of, really just kind of experiment. And that was, for me, that was where a lot of, honestly, what I do now kind of stemmed from. We were all just kind of like super hyped up on just getting into Dream Theater at the time, and exposing ourselves to like a lot of other music that had kind of influenced them, like Yes and King Crimson and stuff that we'd only heard little bits on, classic rock radio, and we're now able to like going backwards and checking out some of those bands' weirder stuff, and it was really influencing us. And it kind of just had that period of time in my life when I was about 16 through 18, right before college, had just a profound effect on where I ended up. It really did.
Are there memorable shows from that era?
Yeah, the last one was in my mom's basement. It was a lot of fun. I've got a poster of it framed in my house right now, and yeah, it was a lot of fun, man.
Were there basement shows with Prayer for Cleansing?
Oh yeah, many, mostly. Yeah, we played anywhere and everywhere. We played, we played like high school parties sometimes. Yeah, basement shows, house shows, whatever we could.
That was kind of the norm back then.
That was just.
It was just a
the
show.
normal show was a basement show.
What's a house party that sticks out to you the most now?
That'd be Randy Hildreth's graduation party. That was in '98.
Randy Hildreth, huh?
Yeah, Randy with an I. She was a girl.
Oh.
And she had a party, and she said, "Hey, I'm trying to get a band to play." And I was like, "Well, I think my straight edge metal band should play." And we did. And it was really awkward but fun. And that one sticks out to me. Randy Hildreth's graduation party. Randy, if you're listening to this, I don't know where you are. I haven't seen you in about 13, 14 years. Thanks for the show.
It's the last night of the Summer Slaughter Tour. You guys were just in Portland a couple nights ago. Any stops at Voodoo Donuts?
Yes, you can see remnants up there.
Bam, bam.
Yeah, that's a magical place for us, especially being vegan. There's really only a few spots throughout the country where you can get great quality vegan donuts, and that place is just a landmark.
Earmuffs for my girlfriend, but I had 10 over the last 2 days.
He made out well.
I did really well.
What about Harvey's in Ontario?
Harvey's is great. Yeah, that's a. Why isn't there something like that in America? Just a normal fast food place that's got killer veggie burger and plum sauce.
Well, aside from food, what keeps you occupied on the road? Do you guys pay particular attention to sports? The Cleveland Indians.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we've been to a few ball games on this tour on either days off or before the shows. We watched a lot of the Olympics. It's almost football season.
Watched some preseason NFL football.
So yeah, we're pretty sports oriented. Only Tommy's really not, and yeah.
But it's only because he thinks it's cool to not like sports.
To not, yeah.
Tommy, if you're listening, no, I'm just kidding. Nah, it's cool. He's just not into sports.
Yeah.
On the topic of sports, you also met Randy Johnson very recently. Tell us about that.
I didn't get to meet him, but Paul did.
Just pure state of euphoria. No, he's he obviously he's one of the greatest pitchers of all time. Multiple Cy Youngs, throw perfect games, or no hitter. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's just awesome. So, yeah, he for some reason he just takes pictures now as like a hobby, and he likes metal and he likes music, and he just ended up taking pictures of the bands on the Summer Slaughter, and I was just blown away by it. He came to the LA show, and then he came to the Arizona show, and I was like, I gotta meet him. I go up to him, I say, "Hey, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Paul from," and then he interrupted me and he said, "Oh, I know who you are. I'm a big fan." And that was really the pinnacle of my existence. That Randy Johnson knew who I was.
The big unit.
The big unit knew who I was, the small unit. That's how I like to call myself. But he's awesome. He's 6'10". He's a massive dude. He takes great pictures, and he's really nice and down to earth and super cool. And he tweeted us. You know, he mentioned us by name on his Twitter.
It was great.
And said we were talented. And so, yeah, I love Randy Johnson.
Well, aside from sports, any movies on the road? Any Spinal Tap action happening here?
We didn't watch Spinal Tap. We probably should have. I feel like we should every tour. There's always a moment that seems Spinal Tap-esque. We played that place in Louisville, Expo 5, and that always reminds me of when they play that airport hangar.
Yeah.
And they see interference in his amp. We played a place in Louisville that was that, basically, but minus the interference.
We've gone to some movies, though.
We've gone to some movies. We saw, well, Paul didn't see, but, you know, a few of us went and saw The Dark Knight, and that was great. And, yeah.
Speaking of Spinal Tap moments, tell us about the Stonehenge at Ozfest.
That was probably the best prank ever.
Yeah.
Last day of Ozfest.
Yeah, in our home state.
Yep. Raleigh.
And this thing lowers down. And they found a midget in the stage to run around it, which was amazing.
It was great.
Was it something that you had expected?
No.
Absolutely not.
But I remember thinking it was weird because there were people from, like, every band on the stage watching us, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, people had just, you know, seen us one last time. No, it was because they knew there was this.
Yeah. Turns out they didn't care about us at all. They just wanted to see this prank.
I think we were the only band probably that had, like, a clean part. That's probably why they did. I think they were just goofing on us. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It was fun, though. I mean, it was just weird because it was such a drab, humorless tour for the most part.
Yeah, and then
that happened, and we were like, well, that's weird, you know.
It's more funny now to watch, like, YouTube videos. I've seen YouTube videos, and it's pretty funny.
Yeah, but it was fun.
On a separate topic, what was it like playing in Alaska, and how does it compare to playing on a boat in Portugal?
Mm-hmm. Well, both instances were neat. Playing, I feel like that's got to be like one of the only times we'll still play Alaska is, you know, when we're in Alaska. And those shows were interesting, to say the least. You know, it was cool. It was just like, you know, the first night was a 21 and over show, because they have really strict alcohol laws, I guess, there. And the next show, I guess, was all ages. And the difference between the two was insane. I mean, they were both good, like, well-attended shows, but the people at the 21 over show were just maniacs.
Yeah.
I mean, just freaking
Absolutely
out. Like, from the like first note, it was just like insane.
I mean, it was like they showed up drunk and got drunker.
And
then it devolved into this it was crazy.
It was
actually a little uncomfortable.
It was.
But looking back, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It was a cool experience, something unlike any show we've ever played before.
Yeah. And of course we had to play Alaska there. So.
And then the Portugal show on the boat was also unlike any show ever.
It was. One thing I remember about that show were kids singing the riffs louder than the PA, actually, because it was, you know, it couldn't have been very loud in that room, you know. It was like the bottom part of a boat, you know. I think we were probably in water.
I think we were technically underwater
when we were playing, and I think we were playing Selkies or something. It was that beginning, the keyboard part, and kids were singing it like louder than anything else that I could hear in the room. I was like, oh, that's cool. There's only like 150 kids there, but they were all, you know, at the top of their lungs. It was cool.
Moving forward, the last interview we did was a couple of years ago with Orbs, when you were touring with Orbs. Since then, you've released Trioscapes. You also tracked bass for All Human.
Yeah.
Will there be an Orbs All Human tour?
I don't know, maybe. That'd be probably Adam's worst nightmare. Adam from Orbs / All Human. He would probably destroy his voice and be really sad. He belted out in Orbs, and All Human's a bit more reserved. Which I think is a cool break for him. But I know they're just getting going, and they're getting ready to do some shows, and I don't know when his album's coming out. But yeah, it was fun to have a project where I don't have to worry about writing anything. I just track bass, you know. It was nice, and he would send me something, and I would send it back, being like, well, just tell me what you like or don't like, and then he'd just send me the next one. I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess you like that. So, you know, he wanted me to write the bass parts for a reason. You know, I think he knows that I understand bass, and I understand how it should kind of work in his songs, because we have a lot of similar influences, a lot of different influences, but, you know, we gel on enough of the same stuff, so.
And in addition to that, you have Parallax 2 comes out on October 9th, and you're touring Japan and Australia with Animals as Leaders. And Paul, I know you've known Tosin when he was a teenager before he went to music school. Tell us a little bit about that.
I met Tosin in probably it was probably 03 or something. It was one of our first tours, really. His old band Reflux and Between the Buried and Me toured together. And I met him, and I was like, God, this guy, at that time he was already good. He was sweeping and doing all kinds of pretty advanced guitar techniques. I was like, man, this guy's really good. And then he just sort of dropped off the face of the earth for a while when he went to music school and stuff. And I was like, I wonder if I wonder if Tosin's ever going to do something again. And then emerges, Animals as leaders. So
it was weird though, because he would like show up randomly, like at Atlanta gigs, and he'd bring some like insane guitar that he had just gotten, and he would just bring it to the show for some reason, just to show it to us, and we'd look at it and be like, oh, neat, and he'd do some neat things, and we'd be like, oh, cool, yeah, that guy's sick,
Yeah.
And then like you said, he just Animals out of nowhere.
Yeah. So so I've known Tosin for a really long time, and just watched him grow from a good guitarist to an awesome guitarist, and then from this little dude who wore a Baltimore Orioles cap to a dude who wears like a fedora or whatever he wears now, and weird like I don't know, like 1920s blues guitarist clothes.
But it was cool because we took them on their first tour ever. We took them to Europe for the first time. We're taking them to Japan, Australia for the first time. So we're trying to do the whole world together.
Yeah. It won't be long
Close.
until we will have seen the whole world with Animals as leaders, which is cool because they're good friends of ours and a great band.
Yeah.
So.